The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment of silence in memory of all those that were lost in the line of duty.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Technical Financial Studios. This is Tony Dom here. Big Blue Stogie Review. Before we get going, we're going to dedicate this show. We're going to post it up here to Thomas Ray Guy from the Perth Amboy Police Department. Was killed in the line of duty back on 8/22, 2008. I worked with Tommy when I was just a young buck on EMS down there in the city of Perth Amboy. He was a great guy, and being we just went past his passing, we wanted to recognize him. Like we do all our brothers and sisters that are lost in the line of duty. So, how's everybody doing today?
Outstanding.
Oh, to my right, Mike Campy, as always from Campy's
Choir practice.
It's like Pavlov's dogs. I just put that on, and all of a sudden he starts dancing.
It really is. And the espresso kicked in, which is delicious, by the way, because I needed that.
Cuban coffee. Cuban
Excuse me, Cuban
nice
coffee.
Cuban coffee today.
Delicious.
And as always, my
Cafe
partner,
Cubano.
Cafe Cubano. And today, ladies and gentlemen, Aladino Cigars, and we are privileged and honored to have Adrian Sardiñas. Excuse me, I don't say it wrong.
Somewhat, yeah.
Somehow I'm close enough. So that's from Aladino Cigars in studio with us for all your questions, and we're going to be reviewing the 85th anniversary edition of Aladino Cigars, which is fantastic. And Adrian's going to bring us through why this cigar is so special. He's just given us a little lay of the land before we started here, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this once it gets out there. To everybody. Has it been pre-released?
No, it's already released.
It's out.
As a matter of fact, the problem that we're facing right now is that it's a very limited production cigar. So it's not limited edition, it's a limited production. We release a small batch, let's say every couple months. Right now, most shops are sold out. Wow. So it's one of those things where it gets to the shops, sells out right away, and we cannot restock it immediately. So you kind of have to wait for the next cycle. So no, it got introduced, I want to say about 3 months ago. It hit the market, and right now it's just booming. It is our special, kind of like a collaboration this year with the industry that, and I'll talk a little bit more about the blend and why this cigar is so different than pretty much everything that's out there. Yeah.
Nice. The phone lines are open. If you have any questions for Adrian or us, you're more than welcome to call in. We just remind you, please do not call in on device that you're actually watching the show on. Mo would really appreciate that. If you want to mess with Mo, then do that.
I mean, you can do that. Yeah, please. Why not?
Yeah.
Echo chamber.
So why don't you start telling us about this fantastic cigar, the build, how it came about?
Yep.
That's what we want to hear.
Absolutely. So it's called the 85th Anniversary Reserva because it was done in honor of our patriarch, Don Julio Eiroa, his 85th birthday. He's actually 88 right now. This project should have come out a few years ago.
Better, better with age.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why it's called the 85th. It has the band looks a little bit different than our traditional bands, even though it has our main logo, the A with the Aladino and the numbers on the side. It does have a completely different view. What makes this cigar so different, and all of us here, we're cigar smokers, and after a while, there's only so much Nicaraguan, Honduran, Dominican blends that you smoke, and after a while, it kind of starts all tasting in a similar fashion, and we're always looking for what company is going to innovate and create something that is just so different, right? So the first time that I heard about this project, obviously at the beginning, I'm like, well, I don't know what to expect because none of us has ever smoked something like this. So Corojo is a very prominent wrapper right now in the industry, right? Where you probably had a lot of cigars with Nicaraguan Corojo, Honduran Corojo, which is more famous. The seed that is used in this cigar, which is a puro on the wrapper, the binder, and the filler, is called Pirareño seed, and it's the father of Corojo. So we get Corojo from this seed. This seed has not been used in the American market in about 60 years. Wow. So this is it almost like going back in time and producing something before we actually hibernated to make the modern day Corojo that we
basically you guys created a pre-embargoed cigar.
So the seeds were actually seeds that Don Julio Eiroa brought from Cuba with him to Honduras. So just to give you a little background, Don Julio Eiroa, along with Angel Oliva and some of the pioneers in the early 60s, they created the Nicaraguan and Honduran cigar industry. Basically, the Central American cigar industry is created by these Cuban families. A lot of them was done with seeds that were brought from Cuba, naturally, right? Over the years, we've had a lot of different variations of the seeds, and you create this hybrid seeds that are more susceptible to fighting mold, and they're more susceptible to just higher crop levels and stuff like that. So over the years, we keep moving in the forward direction. This project is going back, so it's a bit of a retro of let's produce something that
it's a non-hybrid seed, is what you're saying.
It's an original. Yeah. It's an original Piraneño seed. So I remember the first time that I was in the factory in Honduras. I want to say it was 2021 or 2022. I can't remember exactly now. I saw the bottle with the seeds and it said Piraneño, and I've been in the industry at that point for 15 years. I have never heard of that terminology, Piraneño, and I'm like, what is this? Well, this is the original Corojo. This is where we get Corojo from. And fast forward a few years, they're like, well, we're going to make a cigar now that is 100% that seed, wrapper, binder, and filler. And right away, I'm like, whoa, this is now getting exciting. Yeah. Because again, we smoke a lot of cigars, and yeah, sure, every company releases a lot of new cigars every year, but a lot of times you smoke and you're like, this is great, but it reminds me of this other blend that I smoked last year, and it reminds me of this other thing. The first time I lit this up, I'm like, this reminds me of nothing that I've ever smoked. That's what makes a cigar exciting. And in another point will be that we need to innovate as an industry. And one of my biggest critiques of the cigar industry, so we're very traditionalist, and we tend to kind of get stuck in, this is how we've always done things. So anytime a company creates or innovates something that is completely different, I get very excited about it. If it's a good project, of course, right? Sure. Because I feel like the industry needs to continue to push forward in order to continue to attract younger clientele and continue to attract people who were never cigar smokers and perhaps now are like, well, this is exciting. It's an exciting industry. And even for us that we're cigar smokers, we want to smoke different things, right? We're always hunting down like, what's the new limited edition? What's the new hybrid? What's the new project?
Yeah, we're always looking for that new flavor.
Exactly.
And trying to, see what we like. And listen, everybody's palate's different.
Of course.
So things you like, I might not like, whatever.
100%.
So yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, when it got released, so we announced it at PCA. We were at the trade show, we had it on display and people were coming in and like, what in the world is this? And we were explaining it. It was just mind blowing to a lot of people. Fast forward a month later, it hits the shops, sells out immediately in every shop that got it. Restock comes in, everyone's getting half of what they want because
everybody's ordering it.
It's limited production. Yeah. So I always specify that it is not limited edition. We're going to continue to make the cigar. It's just there's only so much we can make because of the rarity of the wrapper, binder, and filler.
How long are you guys aging the tobacco? When it went from seed to soil before it hit the shelf.
So that is undisclosed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, I can only say what I know, and second, what I'm allowed to say. No, so there's a lot of things within the blend that we just don't disclose, other than the fact that it's a 100% puro wrapper, binder, and filler from the seed. That is my favorite. So I work with different companies, and I was traveling with the national sales director from another company that I work. And he's like, hey, from some of your other companies, what's something fun, exciting that I should try? And I give him this cigar, and he lights it up, and he's like, this is like Corojo on steroids. And I'm like, I've never heard it that way, because it really is such a like, this is what Corojo should taste like. But obviously we've had to, evolve the seed for a lot of different reasons. Corojo tends to be.
This is what our grandfathers smoked.
Some,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you go back, it's
if you this. So when people say what is a Cuban-esque cigar, and I have a lot of distaste for the modern day Cuban cigars, and I'll say that as somebody who's born and raised in Cuba, I just don't care. People hand me Cubans and I give it back, or I give it to somebody else. But I do have a lot of respect for the foundation of Cuban cigars, which will lead to obviously the Nicaraguan cigar industry, the Dominican cigar industry, and everything that we know. If somebody asks me, what cigar can I smoke right now that is the closest to a 1958 Cuban puro, this is it. And it doesn't mean that you're gonna like it. You might not like it. I've given it to people and they're like, no, I want that black pepper because they usually smoke like fuller cigars. This doesn't have black pepper.
No.
You know, this is a mild to medium, very salty, very citrusy. You'll pick up your own notes because it's also heavily dependent on your palate. And the notes that I'll pick up, it will be different than yours and will be different. Yeah, that's okay. But what I will tell you is you are going to smoke a cigar that is completely different from anything else that you smoked. Unless you have a secret stash of 1950s Cubans, you know, which probably by this point is all dried out. So
Lost its flavor.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a few pre-revolution Cubans at home, and my wife's always like, when are you gonna light them up? I'm like, never. That's probably garbage at this point. Might as well keep it for a nostalgic purpose.
That's
that way I can show people.
Build a shadow box and stick it on your wall.
Yeah, I have some Romeos and some Farrak from the mid 50s, late 50s that I inherited from a friend of mine. His grandfather passed away, had a big collection, and he's like, smoking. I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, and even if they were kept, I mean, there's going to be nothing left of them anyway.
Nothing.
30, 40 years later, nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know, that aging and de-aging has gone, and you're smoking paper at that point. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, comes in two sizes, Robusto and Toro.
Okay.
I prefer the Robusto. I think the Robusto is a more complex version of the two cigars, but the Toro sells faster than the Robusto, just because the American market smokes more Toros than Robustos. But that's why I brought you guys a Robusto today. So yeah, if
you guys
like
lighting
it,
them up? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, we're talking, going through this here.
Yeah, do a cold draw, and
nice.
We're pacing ourselves.
Yeah. I mean,
It can't be. I'm just watching you while these guys are talking, and I mean, I'm going to say all the shit's flying over your head, but I mean, that's really not hard to do.
No,
considering
because I'm short,
you are officially a midget.
There's that. I mean, but
yeah, it's just like he's talking about the cigar
shift
wrapper and the filling, and you're just staring at the mic like, yeah, what?
Please let me light this. I just want to. That's what's going through his head as the squirrels are going past him.
Squirrels, espressos kicking in. La 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 la. I got a lot going on.
He has stage 5 ADD.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you just
easily distracted. There's traffic behind you right now. There's leaves, and they're all fucking with me. Something fierce. I see cars on the bridge, and I'm wondering if one's gonna go off.
I mean, the cold draw, I get a nice grass.
Yep.
Like earthy grass, like fresh mowed, like that type of.
Yep.
That's what I get. I don't know about Dom, but
A little sweetness. I get actually a little pleasant on the palate of just pulling it in dry draw.
It's a very Aladinos in general, and a lot of Honduran companies. I actually found that a lot. They tend to have very, very easy draws, and very, very pleasant smokes. Where a lot of the times, even if I really enjoy a Nicaraguan blend, after I smoke it, I almost have to cleanse the palate. I don't find that with a lot of Honduran blends. Like I can light up back to back Aladino, Leaf by Oscar, CLE, like those Honduran blends. I find that a little bit easier on the palate, and that's why for a lot of new smokers, it's more recommendable to introduce them to a Dominican or Honduran blend. Nicaraguan tobacco tends to be a little bolder, more black pepper, and that can scare off a lot of new smokers. Yeah, but if I'm lighting up 3 cigars back to back, yeah, I can light up 3 Aladinos in a row, and it just there's no residue whatsoever, and you'll notice with the cigar. Yeah.
I think we better light up and find out here.
Let's do it.
I like it.
Campy's going to have to put his Garcia Vega down for a minute.
Yeah, I gotta. Yep. My backwoods.
Nothing wrong with a good backward.
No, they're delicious. Now, how did you get into this industry? What got you into this?
So I get into the industry in a very similar way that I feel like a lot of people that are now making careers out of the industry got in, which is you were hanging out at a shop and you were a regular there, and all of a sudden one day you were asked to like cover shift, and that's kind of how So I got through college and grad school hanging out at cigar shops in Miami, and then one day someone's like, "Hey, Adrian, I got nobody to cover on Sunday." All right, cool. I kind of know the humor. And, it turned into like a little part-time here and there, make a little extra money, smoke cigars for free, that kind of thing. And then before I know it, a few decades later, this is my career and this is how I support my family. And, it's a blessing. It truly is a blessing. But I went through, multiple little stages. I was an educator for a while. You were mentioning Pertambo. I used to teach in Pertambo. Mm-hmm. In Miami, I taught at couple of community colleges. So my role went on academia, but always part-time as a tobacconist, always kind of having my hand involved in something regarding the cigar industry. And then I want to say around post-COVID, around 2020, that's when my wife and I start having that serious conversation of, you can make a full-time career in the cigar industry that can support the family, and you love that a lot more than academia. You need to make a decision, because you can't be playing with both simultaneously.
You're kind of still in academia. You're teaching people about
Yeah.
cigars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? It's all about tobacco education. And, bringing people into the culture.
Last night I'm doing an event at one of our shops in Jersey, Cigars, and people are coming in and they're asking me questions.
Legendary Frank Land.
Yeah.
I was just with them last week. I missed you.
Awesome.
Yes.
And people are coming in asking me all kinds of questions, and yeah, I'm educating on the blends, on the history. Adrian,
Right.
why is it called Aladino? Why is this? Why is it? So in many different ways, I want to say that the decade that I was in academia, it set the path for me to now become a more effective representative, brand ambassador, and everything else that I do within the cigar industry. Yeah.
Now you have a strong, huge network. I mean, you got to know cigar people from all over the world. This isn't just now a Jersey thing, of course, or
No,
Miami before, or even Cuba. Like you must have a huge network.
It's my cigar industry career. Let's put it that way. Starts in Miami. So that was actually very instrumental, because most of the offices, most of the headquarters of cigar companies are based out of Miami. So I was able to meet a lot of people, and I was able to connect within a lot of different companies. Then I had a short stint in Arizona at Ambassador Fine Cigars. That is one of the biggest and most respectable cigar operations in West Coast. There's two locations, one in Scottsdale and one in Peoria. And I was there for a little bit. So then I was able to meet a lot of people within the West Coast cigar industry that I had no previous exposure to. And then I come to the Northeast, first being involved in retail, and now as a representative, I cover New England all the way to Virginia. So then it's kind of gotten me a little bit in touch with a lot of different aspects of the industry, a lot of different people that are involved, not just in cigar making, but it can be box making, it can be the people that have to do with the marketing teams. Like there's a lot of that goes into making this industry work. And then, but I think that what really exposes you the most is the trade show. So once a year we have the PCA trade show, and it's almost like a reunion of the entire industry, global, not just in the United States. We have people that come in from all over the world. So then interacting and creating that social network, it expands your ability to do your job effectively. Because at its foundation, my main job is to put the cigars in people's hands, right? To convince shops to carry the product, to help the shops make money and sell the product, and then continue promoting. That's really the foundation of what my job is, or at least within the representative part. I do a lot of other things in the industry, so I learn a lot from different people. So if I'm hanging out with a shop owner from Texas, I'm like, hey, how do you move the product? How do you display it? So those back and forth, it allows me to, okay, this didn't work for this shop, but perhaps that model that is done at a shop in Austin, Texas, might work. So then you always pivot, and that's what you find a lot in the industry. Yeah.
Is there a big contrast that you see being in the industry from the East Coast and the West Coast of how people either look at tobacco, or they move tobacco, or they market it?
Yes and no. So I find the two coastal areas, the Northeast and the West Coast, are actually very similar in terms of what they buy, what they promote. They're more family-owned brands. They tend to support more family-owned brands, and I'll make the specification in a second. And they tend to support more boutique brands. I find the center of the country and the Southwest, and even many parts of Florida, to be more supportive of legacy and corporate brands. So that's more the distinction that I make. I don't know if it's because the Northeast and the West Coast have more younger smokers. Like there's more people in their 20s and 30s who are more likely to be on social media and more likely to be looking at what people are smoking on social media. Where if I am at a shop in, let's say, Alabama, it tends to be, or Georgia or Virginia, it tends to be a lot of people who just been smoking for a while. And let's say they've been smoking the Maca noodle since 1995 and they're just not going to change. So you find a lot more of those customers, and especially also like in the southern parts of the United States, where the two coasts tend to be more like, wait, what is that? Explain it to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give it a try. They're almost like a little bit more optimistic and willing to try something. So that's what I find. The two coasts tend to be more boutique and more family owned. And that's kind of like a big distinction right now in the cigar industry. Is this a family owned brand or is this a corporate brand? And I find that, especially here in Jersey, we support family owned brands a lot and we support boutique brands a lot. So my brands do a lot better. Like my overall portfolio, what I represent, does a lot better in the Northeast, in the West Coast, and in parts of like Texas and Arizona than, let's say, it does in the Southwest or it does in the Midwest or things like that. Yeah.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Across the nation, what state or area has the best cigar lounges?
Tough. If we go by,
Without pissing anybody off.
no. It's not a matter of pissing anybody off. It's
But we all know it's all family, right?
It's about
how do I explain? I will tell you who's booming right now in the cigar industry. That's a more Arizona is booming right now. It is the cigar game in Arizona is out of this world. Some of the most beautiful shops that I've ever seen. A lot of TA shops, a lot of really good operations. Pennsylvania is another one. I mean, the fact that there's no tax, and that you start seeing that a lot. The states that do not have cigar taxes and are more friendly towards people being able to open a cigar lounge tend to overall do a lot better. You get into the case of like New York, which is one of the states that I cover, they're not issuing new licenses. 75% state tax,
Jesus.
a city tax on top of that.
It's nuts.
Rent is
75%.
so
I
the
think
same.
they've been talking about going to 100%.
They've been talking, So what you overall find is states that tend to be less draconian against the cigar industry tend to flourish. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Every time I get to go to Virginia, I stock up.
Exactly. Virginia is doing very well in the cigar industry. Maryland is doing very well as well. Jersey is actually booming. We have a new shop opening up every 2 months. But New Jersey, even though we do have, a 30% cigar tax, because we're next to New York, there's a 75. It kind of makes us,
Especially the counties that are close to
exactly.
the bridge,
And then the other thing is that we do have a large accumulation of capital in New Jersey. So there's more there's more income in New Jersey to spend on cigars. So that also tends to favor us a lot. But I want to say Arizona, Texas, certain parts of Florida. And I mean that because people think the entire state of Florida is killing the cigar industry. No, it's not. There's a lot of places because I talk to the reps all the time, like they're my colleagues, and they're like, I cannot get this shop to buy anything more than this. The Northeast is doing extremely well. So Jersey, PA, Maryland, Virginia. Believe it or not, New England's killing it right now. Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, not necessarily Massachusetts, Maine, and Vermont are kind of like on the other spectrum of we're just not even going to allow you to light up a cigar. But New Hampshire is doing phenomenal. Like in a couple of weeks, I'm heading to the.
Meanwhile, you could drive a bus smoking weed, and they're just fine with it.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah, that's Massachusetts. That's Vermont.
I just came from the shore. I took vacation last week. I was on the beach. If I lit up a cigar, I would be attacked by 15 light guards.
Oh, right.
But someone could have a bong in the sand, and nobody would say
100%. 100%.
The shore is actually surprising because New Jersey is very cigar friendly, but then once you get to the shore, they kind of flips on you.
Yeah,
it's actually quite weird. And
the beaches.
Now, but do you think the legalization of marijuana or the proliferation of vaping has had any impact on the cigar industry?
Where the hell did that come from?
The question or the word proliferation?
Anything. He's got stage 5.
I might have just had a seizure. I'll probably start speaking Swahili.
The brain is literally the biggest organ on your body right now.
He's done it for today. Cancel the show.
That's it.
Game over.
I peaked.
That was the word of the day on the toilet paper. I'm going to work proliferation.
It was written. SAT word.
So to answer the question to the best of my knowledge, yes and no. Anytime so what is the biggest hurdle that we have right now? The premium cigar industry. And I always specify, not tobacco, not big tobacco, the premium cigar industry. I do not, people always tell me like, oh, you work for the tobacco industry. No, I work for the premium cigar industry. That's a big, big difference. So the biggest hurdle that we have right now is the ignorant, because it's extremely ignorant, foundation of smoking is bad. No, smoking is not bad. It depends what you're smoking. There's a hierarchy, right? Smoking cigar and smoking a vape that has a whole bunch of chemicals and No, completely different. Even cigarettes, we're on completely different levels. So anytime there is an uptick in smoking in general, even if it's not the cigar industry, it could backfire a little bit on the cigar industry, right? So if we have, like, let's say now there's an increase in cancer cases because of people smoking cigarettes or vaping, they might lump the entire,
Of course.
and then we get affected by it, even though we have no correlation. And I die on this hill. And I've had this fights with doctors and people that work for the CDC and the FDA. The cigar industry, cigar smoking has no correlation with negative health outcomes, right? If they do, you need to find the cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So overall, what we get is, of course, is nicotine. Well, no, the plant, the actual plant, the nicotine plant does not have any adverse negative reactions on you. It's once you add chemicals to it, right?
Yeah.
So that's once you start processing and adding chemicals to it, that's when it turns into just a plant, right? That has been used, by the way, for thousands of years for a lot of medicinal purposes. Into now you just mixed it up with chemicals to create this other product that is addictive, and it just destroys your body, right? So I die on this hill. I fight a lot against it. I'm very involved with everything that has to do with the legality aspect and just overall, how do I explain, the policy aspect of the cigar industry, because we get heavily attacked. Sure. And we get heavily, even New Jersey, the reason why they justify a 30% tax is like, well, we taxing you guys at 30%, so we can use the funds from that 30% to offset the increase in, like, cancer.
Bullshit.
And we're like, sorry.
You okay, Mo?
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta.
But that's their explanation. That's basically their. If you actually read the bill, like, that's actually their.
It's crazy.
And we're like, okay, can you find me a single patient that only smokes cigars? And I specify that, because if you got somebody like my uncle, smokes cigarettes every day, and once in a blue moon lights up a cigar, if something does come out of that, it won't be because of the cigar. It will be because of the pack of cigarettes that he's killing every day, right? But if you find people that smoke cigars every day and they develop something because of cigars, please let me see, because in almost 18 years I've been in the industry, I have yet to see a case. And the best example is us, the people that work in the industry. We smoke more than the consumer, of course, right?
Sure.
If it is true that smoking cigars causes X, Y, and Z,
then you should be dead by now, basically.
half the industry should be in the hospital.
Correct. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And meanwhile, what you find is the majority of cigar makers live very long lives. And the ones that unfortunately pass away early, it's not because of that. It might be because got hit by a car or, whatever. But we have yet to find any correlation between you smoking cigars and you're getting this kind of disease. We've yet to find it, but yeah, we keep getting lumped into. So I know I got a little sidetracked, but back to your original question, unfortunately, we kind of get lumped with the marijuana industry.
Sure.
We get lumped with the vaping industry, cigarettes, and yeah, it could affect us. Sometimes
they
it doesn't.
have nothing to do with each other,
nothing.
but because of the negative correlation and connotation that goes with it, that just defies logic, it's just easy to assign blame to the whole group.
Yes, and then you say, well, now let's just overtax everyone, and we're like, excuse me, we have nothing to do with.
It's a money grab.
100%. States need money. Bureaucracy is very expensive to maintain and grow. So you need money. Yeah, and we are very vulnerable because we're the majority of cigar shops in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, we're family-owned shops.
Right.
We're not the corporate side of cigars is actually very small. The majority of our family-owned. We don't have unions. We don't have we have very little to fight back other than the PCA and the CRA and some organizations that are actually relatively new. Now it's that when we really started organizing and fighting back. But because of that, it makes us very vulnerable for a state politician to be like, you know what, tax him X amount, and we can get more money for that.
Yeah. Now the PCA event, when they have the conference, is that held in the same place every year, or is that move around?
No. It for the most part, since I've been in the industry, has been held in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Last year was held in New Orleans. And this one coming up will be also held in New Orleans, but then after that, we go back to Las Vegas.
That's a buy invite.
Yes, it's
not something you can go to.
No.
I couldn't find my way there. I get lost. I somehow end up in Ohio.
It is primarily shop owners or buyers of shop owners, people who are in managerial roles. Obviously, the companies, the cigar companies, the representatives of the cigar company, and a small aspect of it will be what we refer to as cigar media. So Cigar Journal, Cigar Aficionado, Cigar Press, Stogie Press. Some people that have podcasts can actually apply and go. You just gotta, obviously pay for the stuff. But that's primarily what it is. And pipes. We pipe companies do come in, Peterson, pipe companies do come in and have the display, but it's primarily cigars. Yeah. Premium cigars. Yep.
So you can't show up camping and just buy a ticket at the door.
Stand outside with the sign.
It's not a movie theater.
We'll smoke for fun. Yeah. Well, you never know. I could show up. So you do a lot of travel because of this.
Yes. Yeah. So
like how often are you on the road?
Every day, except the weekends. Yep. So really? Monday to Friday, I'm on the road. I kind of rotate, and let's say like next week, I'll primarily be in Pennsylvania. I'll be covering our shops in Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Bethlehem, all over Pennsylvania. I don't cover the entire state. My cutoff is kind of like central PA. So next week I'll be in Pennsylvania. The following week after that I'll be in Maryland. The following week after that it will be New Jersey. So I kind of rotate.
You're all over, yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over. So that's Monday through Friday, and then usually
it's nothing to walk into the shop and see Adrian sitting there.
Yeah,
or one of the other reps. I mean, really, tell you the truth, I mean, there's not probably a week I could go by without walking into Maine and seeing someone.
Yeah.
Seeing someone from one of the reps.
Just to give a lot of credit to Main Street Cigars, they are kind of like the central hub for reps in this area.
Okay.
So a lot of us love hanging out at Main Street Cigars.
Yeah.
There's a few shops that have become like, one of them is just location wise.
Sure.
Second thing is it's just the community that has been built there.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are a tremendous shop that does a lot of business, and all of us do it. So obviously I'm not going to be hanging out at a shop that doesn't support any of my brands.
That's not.
Yeah. Like I'll go in, but I'm not going in as often. Main Street Cigars is one of my key accounts where my brands really flourish in that. And then there's been a lot of different groups that have been born out of Main Street. The Firm Cigar Society, JCL, things like that. So yeah, it's kind of become like a hub. And you find that within every state, there's like 2 or 3 shops that are kind of like the hub for reps. The fact that they open late, there's a lot of things that benefit to that. Yeah,
we put the link to Main Street in the comments and put it up on the screen too.
Yeah,
that we did an event there not long ago, and it was a really cool place. That room was great. The shop was great. That whole layout was phenomenal. It was really cool.
Always very good to us.
We
go there. And one thing I've noticed, and you talk about being a rep, is that I go to shops across the country when I'm traveling for work or whatever, and sometimes you just walk into the shop and it's a nice cigar lounge, but it's got one brand.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing else sells here. I'm like, well, okay. Right. Yeah, you walk in, and I won't mention any brands by any names, just to put anybody on the spot.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing how you go in there. It's like it's one major brand and then one other cigar, and it's like, hey, you have it doesn't sell here. It doesn't sell here. That's what you get. And it's like, and you wonder sometimes. But then again, the cigar lounge is not packed either by any means.
Yeah, for lack of better words, there's somewhat is a blueprint for success on the retail level, and having very little brands is not one of them. Like at all. You need cigars. We don't. And I must take away my rep hat and then put on my retail hat, because I'm involved in retail as well. Retail shops do not make money off the lounge. They make money off the grab and go.
Yeah.
They make money of people coming in and saying, do you have this? Okay, cool. Let me get a box. Do you have this? Do you have that? So if you're a shop and I have a lot in my territory where I try to talk with the owners and I try to explain to them, if you don't have product to sell, you cannot turn a profit. There's just no way to, it's like saying I am going to go to a coffee shop. There's only going to be 2 things on the menu. If the coffee shops that do well are the ones that not only have a lot of different options of drinks, but also have baked goods and things like that. It's the same thing in the cigar industry.
Sure.
So if you walk into a humidor of a shop and they barely have anything, I mean, that alone will cut you off from what you're buying. The other thing is that the cigar community talks a lot. Sure. Like we're very gossipy. We talk a lot. So then all of a sudden, like you tell your friend, I'm like, yeah, I went there. They have no cigars. Okay, cool. That friend's going to tell another. Before you know it, that interaction with that customer that went in.
Domino effect.
It has a domino effect. So if you look at the top selling, the top revenue operations in every state, all of them have the same thing in common. They have a lot of cigars, and they have cigars that are popular, right? And this is where the shop owner or the buyer, whoever's in charge of curating the humidor, has to be on top of the trends, because like anything else, we have trends. Right now there are certain brands that are more popular than others. Doesn't mean they're better. It's just they're more popular, right? My brands right now are more popular than they were a year ago. Not because they make better cigars now, It's because I'm doing more events, more promotions, more
It's out
marketing.
there. Yeah.
So it's out there. It's more like, oh yeah, this is one of the brands in Adrian's portfolio, and it's actually performing a lot better than it was a year ago. It's the same cigar. Brands go through things like that. Like how many brands you guys were smoking 5 years ago that were very popular that now are nowhere to be found. So it's very trendy, and you as a cigar buyer, general manager, owner, whoever it is, you have to be on top of those trends. So what's the same thing that you notice in every shop that kind of does well? Well, they're very welcoming. It tends to be, accessibility is another one. Like if you have no parking, it can deter some people from.
Sure.
And you see that you walk into a cigar lounge and it's like, hey, all this product's 30-40% off buy. And then 16, 18 months later, it's like relaunch, and then bang, that line back into place.
I've seen it, in the past couple of decades, just brands just go on a roller coaster, up and down. Some have stayed very hot. Some brands that were staples right now are dying, and that's just the reality of any retail product.
Have you experienced any issues? It's fun to hear people's perspectives on this with the tariffs, what's happening right now. Has this impacted you in any way, shape, or form, business-wise or inventory-wise?
Yes and no. Okay. So the tariff did increase prices, right? But the price increase is not enough to deter people from buying the cigars.
Got it.
So give you an example. One of my companies is doing a price increase right now coming in September. That means that cigar that was retailing at $10.50 might retail now at $10.75. The guy who was buying the cigar at $10.50 is still going to buy it.
Is going to buy it.
Yeah.
Now, by no means am I advocating for tariff or taxation.
No.
I'm actually very anti-tariff.
Sure.
And I think where this administration missed the point is that it tariff across the board. You should not tariff a product. And this is where, like, even if nobody asks me my opinion, I'm still going to give it.
Yeah.
You should not tariff a product that is not made in the United States, right? So if you say, like, we're going to tariff jeans that are made in China to encourage companies in the United States to make jeans, okay, I somewhat get the argument. I might agree or disagree, but I somewhat get the argument. In the case of premium cigars, we don't make premium cigars in the United States. Right. So tariffing premium cigars out of Nicaragua, Honduras, or Dominican Republic is absurd, right? That's like saying we're going to tariff a fruit that we don't grow in the United States that grows in Costa Rica. Oh, we're going to tariff. No, we cannot do it. Like we don't make premium cigars in the United States. Right. I mean, we do, but it's so minimal. You know, there's a few projects like the Florida Sun-Grown with Jeffrey Corporation in Florida, and there's a little bit of like Pennsylvania broadleaf and Connecticut broadleaf tobacco, but we don't make premium cigars in the United States, generally speaking. So the tariff was a little bit like, that should not have happened. Is it really impacting? No. As a matter of fact, all my companies are up this year.
That's great.
After the implementation,
quarter increase, not going from 75% to 100% in the U.S.
However, without mentioning any names, there have been a few companies that have taken advantage of the tariff and have done ridiculous price increases and have blamed it on the tariff.
And that's across the board on every industry.
I mean,
there's a lot of price gouging right now. Like, there's a tariff. The tariff is 10% on the value of the tobacco. Let me do a 25%.
Right.
And there's been a few of those, and you know what? The market reacts to it. And I know a lot of shops right now who are discontinuing or cutting off, severely the portfolio on certain brands because they're price gouging. So we do have a lot of brands in the market, and if one brand is doing something that the market is reacting negative to it, there's going to be consequences. Sure. And that's just the reality.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a shop that's the everyday working man coming in there every day,
which most shops are,
yeah, most shops are, right? Of course they're going to do that because they know the guys aren't going to come in no more. They're not going to come by. They're going to look to go other places, or they're going to travel, or any place they can get it cheaper.
So the tariff has impacted the cigar industry. The prices have gone up, but it hasn't gone up in the point that it's actually deterring people. Like, I don't know any case of somebody's like, I'm done smoking.
Right.
Or the guy who's smoking 10 cigars a week, like, I can only afford 5 now. No. The increase has been marginal. And I'm never advocating for price increases. No. Actually, cigars should cost a lot less than what we pay for cigars. We have to factor in the airship, the importation, state taxes, now tariff. Like, cigars should cost a lot less than what what we pay for it. But unfortunately, the governments have a very
greedy. They're greedy.
Yeah. It's like, you guys are making money for this. Well, we want. It's almost like there are like silent partners that don't do anything for our businesses, but they get a check. They get a cut.
They used to call that the mafia, but now it's
Exactly.
Or just outright theft.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan by no means. I think every tax on cigars is ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I've had this conversation with our, a lot of our current, politicians in the state of New Jersey. Like, what you guys are doing is ridiculous. This is not. And every time they try to explain it, they almost dig a deeper hole. And I was like, stop it. You're actually making the thing worse.
You're not helping.
Your explanation is more absurd than the tax itself. So you need to and look, right now we're on the border with Pennsylvania. They are somewhat of a normal state when it comes to cigars. They don't tax. You pay sales tax like on any other product. If you build a business, like you have to pay the regular taxes, the employee tax. But on top of that, to say like, whoa, you're arbitrarily you're gonna have to pay a 40% tax. Why? Your explanation for that, it's I can debunk it, regardless what explanation you give, other than the fact that you just want more money.
Right.
Well, look at Dre. I remember years ago when they still used to do Cigar Fest in Pennsylvania. Going in, they were like, "Oh, let us see your driver's license." Like, "Oh, you're from Jersey? Okay, we got to charge you the 30% and send it to Jersey." I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm going to an event in Pennsylvania."
Yep.
Yet they taxed me on it because I was a Jersey resident. How'd you like that?
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, that's been a few cases. Some e-commerce websites, if they're shipping to a state that has tax, they'll either inform the state or charge you on it, or some don't, some do. It's kind of like based on every single.
Remember when we had a revolution over a tax on tea? I just want to remind everybody of
that. So that's
but we're not throwing good cigars in the water.
Don't do that.
Do not. Yeah. Only Cubans, but not.
Now, speaking of that, you said you're born and raised in Cuba, and I believe it or not, our first show we had Alex Martinez in here of the Cuban descent. His family, who was got shoe stores over there, and he has his cigar line that you're well aware of. Did you have family in Cuba in the cigar industry?
No, not at all. No, even last week I was doing a cigar podcast with a group from New England, and they were asking me a lot about that specific thing. There's an assumption that because I'm Cuban and because I right now make a living in the cigar industry, somewhat is descendant. No, my parents are both engineers. My grandfather had, he worked in mathematics. He was an accountant at one point for a big American corporation. Like, no, nobody in my family had anything to do with cigars, other than the fact that they smoke cigars. So I grew up with cigars in the house.
Yeah.
It was very common for family members of mine to smoke cigars, usually the regular like hand-rolled bodega cigars that they used to give us, because we did not have the money in Cuba to go and buy Cohiba, Partagas, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we smoked a lot of the farm roll, short filler, that kind of thing. But cigars were always around, and it was not a taboo. It's actually very common for family members of mine to be smoking a cigar right next to me. There really is no taboo in Cuba. Where here, if I'm walking with my daughter, let's say we're walking around our backyard and I'm smoking a cigar, my neighbor sees me and it's like has like a heart attack, and I'm like,
Your
no,
daughter's there. What are you doing?
and no, like I have two small daughters, and they see me smoking cigars. They actually even talk about, so like it's funny that they're starting to now like recognize like cigar terminology, and they know that dad sells cigars, and that's how we keep a roof over our head. So no, I'm not gonna make it a taboo, and in Cuba it was not a taboo. So, but no, nobody in my family had anything to do with cigars.
Let's see if you get an invite to career day in the school.
We'll see about that. But
Doritos to the kids.
But yeah, even if you ask my 3-year-old, who's very vocal, very she doesn't stop talking. I mean that in a good way. But if you ask her like what's daddy do, is like, yeah, daddy sells cigars. And then she'll even like take you to, if you're home, she's like, yeah, look, that's a humidor that sells that brand. And that, no, I don't make it a taboo whatsoever, because it's not. Yeah.
What's cool about that too is, especially my first time at the Patriots of the Leaf, there was a woman there who joined that night. Do you see a growth in women getting involved in cigars? Like I feel like when I was younger, there were none, but now it seems, again, you mentioned the taboo.
Yes.
It seems encouraged and it's acceptable and it's okay. It's not, it's
100%. As a matter of fact, the reason why a lot of people in the industry call this era a mini boom is because so the big boom was in the 90s, right? We had a massive cigar boom. It kind of revolutionized and shaped the modern day cigar industry. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Right now, we're in a bit of a mini boom. And part of it is because we have people that were never smoking cigars, like different demographics that were never smoking cigars and now smoking cigars. So it's very common to walk into a cigar lounge and see a woman now smoking a cigar, and see a husband and a wife actually making it a date night and smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
And seeing a 26-year-old smoking a cigar. Where I remember when I started in the cigar industry, I was the youngest by 3 decades.
Right.
And then the second youngest was a 55-year-old man.
Right.
Now the 55-year-old is, it's kind of like the old guy in the cigar lounge. We are starting to see a lot more younger people. And when I mean younger, I don't mean teenagers. I mean 22, 23, 24-year-olds, things like that. And a lot more women, a lot more ethnicities that traditionally did not participate in the cigar industry in the United States. Like if you look at pictures and cigar industry, let's say cigar lounges in the 80s and 90s, it was primarily like suburban, like upper middle class. Where now it's like your everyday person smoking a cigar.
And I think you're seeing a lot more women also starting cigar groups so that they feel comfortable.
Owning cigar brands.
And cigar brands and cigar lounges.
Yep.
You know, because with us, I mean, you know, being Patriots to the Leaf, and you've been to many of our events, we're seeing a lot more lounges that we're trying to bring in that outreach, go to new shops.
100%.
And we're seeing woman-owned cigar shops that you never saw.
Here in New Jersey, you have, Hina, amazing person, owns Cigar World in Ramsey. Anna and Maria, they own South End Cigars in Fairleigh House in New York. You have Marianne, who owns South Street Cigars in Freehold. I mean, there's a lot. I'm talking about, and the same thing with brands. There's so many brands, new brands that I meet that women own, and that's awesome. That is a very good thing, because where before cigars are a niche, and a very niche market, and if you always want to appeal to like different groups, right? As long as they're over the age of 21, of course. But the fact that we're getting so many different people now, and like I walk into a lounge, you see a lot more like, for example, like Filipino smoking cigars, where that wasn't really a case, and so it's now becoming like more acceptable in a lot of different communities to light up a cigar, because guess what? It's a premium product, handmade with no chemicals. Right. How many things do you consume on a daily basis that are handmade, premium, and have no chemicals? My list is very small.
Right.
Almost everything has, it has all kinds of chemicals and preservatives and all kinds of stuff. So
your fruity Cocoa Puffs are probably
they have more carcinogens than cigar.
Fruity Cocoa.
Fruity and cocoa.
So because of that, and because of and I give a lot of credit to the PCA and a lot of activists within the cigar industry and cigar media, we really are pushing. It's not just about promoting Aladino cigars or whatever kind of cigar. It's about promoting. You don't have to consume it. I tell people all the time, you don't have to light up a cigar, but you cannot deter me or stop me from smoking a cigar. That's if I don't eat Pakistani food, I don't eat Pakistani food. But it doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, a Pakistani restaurant should get taxed at 50%. No, it's ridiculous. It's such a moronic concept. The overall hate that we get from the cigar industry. So the last few years, we've seen an uptick in that, and just telling the story and explaining what the product is, and realizing that no, it's actually not bad for you at all. You can even make the case that it lowers your cholesterol, it lowers your stress level. A lot of people who their life are a lot better because they
my
go to
triglycerides. I need more cigars. See,
there you go.
We were just talking about that this morning. My triglycerides are off the chart. Not that anybody's really interested in my health. It's not a HIPAA violation if I tell them myself.
No, you're good.
And that's why, like, when I was even choosing my personal physician, like my doctor smokes cigars, and you ask him, and he's like, no, he actually has no problems whatsoever. But unfortunately, that's not the consensus on the medical industry, and they get a lot of kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies and a lot of different things that, unfortunately, they don't want to explain. The reality of the cigar. It's easier for them, and a lot of times I'm not even trying to like pass blame on them. It's just easier for them to say smoking is bad. Sure. As opposed to creating a hierarchy of no, it's not the same thing. Like, and when it comes to like marijuana, cigarette, there's massive hierarchy of things that have this correlation, things that have no correlation. Things are just really bad. Right now, the worst you can do is vaping. It's pure, it's 100%. Horrendous, and it has probably
100%.
Oh, and you remember those are pure water.
Yeah.
That's what you used
I think one of the things about the medical industry, not to go too far afield, but it's interesting when you go to the doctor's office, the first thing they ask you is, do you smoke? Right? But they don't expand on, are you smoking cigarettes? Are you smoking a vape? You check that box. If you smoke a cigar once a week or once a day, whatever, immediately you are labeled as a smoker, and it falls, and I think it helps them that everything falls under that umbrella of
100%.
That's a smoker.
The previous doctor that I have prior to the one that I have now, that I love this doctor, is my primary physician. He's like, you need to start smoking cigars. Like, it's affecting your health. I'm like, cool, prove it. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, prove it. I'll take your word for it. Prove it. Run any test you want. Run any. I mean, I work out every day. I'm a health freak. Like, you really think I'm gonna do this? If I thought, go ahead, prove it. Prove it to me that I'm gonna run a scan for your lungs and stuff like that. Came back and he's like, well, you have nothing now, but you will soon. I'm like, yeah, I've been smoking 5 cigars a day for the last decade and a half. Like, at this point, it would. And no, right away, I'm like, you know what? This is not even worth having this debate in this fight. He is adamant that all kinds of smoking are bad for you. And I simply just switch physicians, and now I have one that is normal, and he's like, yeah, I've never seen a case. There's really no correlation. So smoke your cigars.
It's sad that they all kind of toe the line, you know, and they want to lump everybody together and look for that common blame of something.
Okay.
I think it's more than toeing the line. It's because they're toeing the line because that's how they get paid.
Oh yeah.
It's like
they're falling into place.
Insurance says do this because of this, so that we can make this. So it's just another tax if you look at it.
Yeah, unfortunately. So but that is the biggest hurdle that we have right now. Is we are constantly fighting the FDA, and they keep coming up with bullshit case after bullshit case and keep redefining. And it's thank God we're winning the battles. We're winning case after case, but it really is exhausting. Because instead of concentrating on like we should be doing more for innovation, creativity, and stuff like that within the cigar industry, an enormous amount of resources and manpower is utilized in just fighting back. That's all we are doing, fighting back. It is my right to light up a cigar, just like it's my right to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like I said, I get it. We're in a closed space. I'm at a restaurant. You don't want me to smoke a cigar. Totally get it, but like 100%. A park, there's no reason why.
As a matter of fact, the overwhelming majority of cigar smokers, they're not pushing in like, oh, I demand that I smoke a cigar in this restaurant. No, that's not the case at all. Most of us smoke in either our backyards or we go to an establishment, right? Like a cigar establishment.
I give you a prime example. I'm down in Long Branch, and my wife and my son were doing an open water swim. They both were doing the open water swims. So I went down knowing I can't smoke cigars on the beach. That had me a hard time. So they're out, they're doing their swim, this, that, and the other thing. And I have a cigar in my mouth. I'm just chomping on it, just walking around. I don't even have a pack of matches in my pocket, right? Sure enough, I'm half mile, 3/4 of a mile away. I'm just standing there watching the surf. And all of a sudden, here comes a lifeguard jogging down towards me. And as he gets closer and closer, he starts laughing, right? And he comes up to me. I'm like, hi. He's like, how are you today, sir? He goes, you don't even have a lighter on you, do you? I go, nope. He goes, do you believe? He goes, I'm down there. I'm the lifeguard for the open water swim. I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. My kid and my wife are over there. And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, there's 4 women over there that said that they cannot breathe because of your cigar smoke. And I can't wait to get back there and tell them you don't even have a pack of matches on you and it's not lit. Yep. So if you could have saw looks could have killed when he got back and they were looking at me like they wanted to kill me because now I called them out on it. And I didn't even know. Because even my wife, when I left the car, she was, you're not going to smoke on the beach. They're going to yell at you. I'm like, not breathing. I'm just going to walk around.
But the skunk weed wouldn't bother them. The smell of the skunk weed, no problem at all.
No, absolutely.
I love the smell of a cigar. I love one anyway, but I love getting that secondary smell. One, because it's freedom. But two, it just smells good. Even as a kid, my whole family smoked cigarettes, and it was the foulest smell.
Yep.
I didn't realize till I was 18 and I moved out that I smelled like cigarettes from being in the house where the family smoked. When you smoke a cigar, it's entirely different. Yeah. Night and day. Yes. And even when you're sitting by the fire, whatever it is, we're sitting here, we're in a lounge.
When's the last time you heard someone go, man, I got a fond memory of that cigarette smoke? You do hear how many people you hear like, hey, I don't smoke cigars, man, but I remember that scent of my father sitting in the backyard. Yep. And I would smell that wafting through the air. And every time I smell it, you've had people walk up to you and say that to you. I know every one of them in this room has had that same conversation. Yeah. That, man, that brings me back to my pop sitting here or out fishing with my pop or something like that. And that's when and even myself, like I can remember back my old neighbor, Gene Army, God rest his soul. He would come home from work and he was an executive type guy. But when he got out of the car, he would be smoking his cigar and you could smell it waft down the street and that Gene was home. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you just knew he was in the neighborhood, Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Unfortunately, that's that's the world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, my old buddy, just like you're saying, his grandfather used to come to all our baseball games and he would stand behind the fence behind home plate, and you knew when Grandpa D was there because he was in the back smoking his cigar, and he would smoke it all the way down to a nub and then chew on it for the rest of the way. But you're 100% right with that. The memories attached to cigar smoking, everybody's got them.
Yeah, now you got to go to the outfield downwind, and they still complain.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like the fight that we going on, we're not fighting to smoke cigars in places that people don't know. We just please like enjoy sitting at a local lounge and watching a baseball game and smoking a cigar, or smoking a cigar in my backyard. Like that, it's not like I remember a few years ago when a lot of this legislation with cleaner acts started passing and stuff like that. I somewhat agree with some of that. I don't want to go on Sunday morning to a diner with my 2 daughters and somebody next to me is having a cigarette or a cigar. I get that.
Sure.
That's not what we're fighting against. We're fighting, there are designated places that are for cigar smoking that is not affecting anybody. And you're still coming and just declaring war on this because of some ignorant, preconceived notion of what cigars is doing to me and to other people, which is all false. So that's really what the fight is about. And same thing with overtaxation. Yeah,
it's funny. Every time we talk about this, I always think of this video from Arnold. Everybody should take advice from Arnold as to where you can smoke your cigar.
Because after dinner, everyone ought to have a cigar. So I tried it. Well, the rest is history. I'm still smoking Stogies. I love it, and he introduced me to something really good. And I know now the next question. Knowing you, being the interviewer that you are, digging in deep all the time, you will say now, what does your wife think about that? Let me ask you something. When my wife's father has introduced me to Stogies, what is she going to say? She's not going to say my father made a mistake, because her father never makes a mistake. So therefore, it is okay. I can smoke Stogies around her. I can smoke Stogies in my house. First of all, because her father introduced me to Stogies, and second of all, because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. I smoke my Stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
I love that.
That's awesome.
And he was built like a brick shithouse. You talk about a guy.
You're not telling him where he can go.
Campy would fit in his pocket.
I would. He could carry me like a handbag. Yep.
The baby Bjorn.
So, Dom, what do you think of this nice cigar here?
I like it. Like I said before, I got that on the dry draw. I got a very sweet sort of back undertone from it. Not jumping out at you, but it's a very fresh tasting cigar.
Yep.
Very clean tasting. A nice relaxing cigar. And I'm with you. I'm a 4 or 5 cigar guy a day. I can smoke anything from, something super peppery or something nice and mild. This has a very nice stay in your mouth. It's not, sometimes you can taste a cigar 20 minutes after that puff, and this cigar does not linger on your palate and on your tongue like that. It's sort of almost, you get a fresh palate almost every time before you take the next puff.
And that if you talk to Julio Eiroa, has been making cigars now for 60-something years, and you talk to his children, Christian Eiroa and Justo's the one that makes Aladino, they will tell you that the Eiroa way of making cigars is we blend a cigar so that after you finish with it, you actually want another one.
Yeah.
It's not like, I need to refresh my palate because I can't feel my, it's and when you smoke Aladino, a lot of the times, whether you're smoking our Maduro, our Cameroon, our Connecticut, it doesn't matter which one it is, they tend to blend for taste and flavor, not for power of 25 minutes later, you still have that lingering yet. Not that there's nothing wrong with that. There's times that I want a cigar like that.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
But that's what makes Aladino. I can smoke an Aladino first thing in the morning. I can smoke an Aladino, at midnight. It doesn't matter. They're very clean, very fresh on the palate.
And to me, this is very complex. I mean, it definitely started right out with like a walnut. When I lit the cigar again with the earth on the dry, I got a nice walnut as I burned down on the cigar. I went from, what the hell was that? I guess somebody's doing something upstairs. Walnut, working my way down. I went back to that earthy type flavor. Now I'm into a nice cedar throughout. Like
I was just going to say, I'm at a cedar right now.
That back half of the cigar.
Second, third has a very resounding
second,
cedar.
third through that. The front half definitely goes like a walnut nutty flavor to, for me at least, a walnut nutty flavor back to the earth and then back in. It kind of lightens up for a second, and then it just blows right.
It transitions. It's a very
cedar to finish. It's
absolutely
beautiful.
And a lot of times that's what I look for in a blend. I want multi notes and I want a transition because it's exciting. Let's say you're smoking this for 45 minutes, you're kind of going through a little roller coaster that is changing back and forth, and that's what makes the cigar.
And it pairs nicely with this Aberfield.
Oh, yeah.
16. I mean, we gotta pull out the good stuff.
You got to get into that after the break. You're at an hour point, boys. Why don't you get up and stretch your legs for a little bit?
We're gonna take a little break.
You want to play that 15-second video before you?
Hold on 1 sec. Before that, let's make sure we follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. What else are we on? YouTube. Yep. Mo's cell phone number. Blow him up. Whatever you want. And we're gonna shout out here with the nice video from Aladino, and we'll be back right after this.
Beautiful.
views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Big Blue Stogie review in-house. Again, Mikey and Dom. And, of course, we got Adrian from Aladino Cigars. One of the big things, we just watched that video. If you guys watch that video, what's with the car?
So the first time that I'm in Honduras and I'm visiting the farm, and at that time I was not a representative. I actually got invited as a retail shop. The shop that I used to manage was one of the top Aladino operations in the entire country. So I get invited to come down to the farm and stuff like that. And then we're touring the whole thing. By the way, it's gigantic. It's one of the biggest cigar operations in all of Central America, one of the first ones. And, we're walking through different things. And all of a sudden, I see this garage. And I see a few cars in there. And whatever. And then I see this yellow car. I'm like, what is that? And then Justo's like, that's my dad's car. Like, that's his car. That's his baby. That's what he drove around and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a beautiful car. I kind of forget about it. Fast forward a few years, now I'm in the team, and we are talking about this project, the 85th, and talking about the layout, the boxes, and stuff like that. And one of the team members goes, yeah, they're putting the car in the box. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, there's a picture of the car in the box. And if you look it up, you'll see the yellow car.
So that's been maintained through the years?
Yes, the car is still, like, that's why you see them in the...
Like, they didn't redo it for this ad.
No. That's his baby. That's Don Julio Eiroa's baby. It's a 1951 Buick. It's just stunning. And they actually, they drive it around and everything. So the logo, the car ended up being the logo for this project for the 85th. And, in case you haven't tell, based on pretty much everything in packaging with Aladino, they love the color yellow. Yeah. So the car being yellow, and that's also why you see the cigar band. It's very pronounced yellow.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. Like, because I've never seen any other cigar box that has a car. And if it does, it's usually some kind of logo. Yeah. Something made up. This is the actual car of the patriarch of the family that created this brand, that created this amazing product. That is his actual car. And at the beginning, we were explained that, and I'm like, well, I hope it comes out well, because at that time, like, we already knew about the cigar and the blend and stuff like that. When I saw the box display at PCA, I'm like, this is going to be, because you walk into a humidor and you see that box, and even if you don't know anything about Aladino, even if you don't know anything about the cigars, you're like, I have to smoke this. It's such an eye-catching thing, and the fact that so like. Right now, if you look in our social media and Aladino Cigars, you'll find a lot of videos and a lot of pictures, and everything is with the car. The car has become now a symbol for the 85th anniversary.
It's iconic.
Yeah, we got a picture of the box up on the
nostalgic.
screen.
So I think it brings you back. Also, this being a nostalgic cigar and nostalgic
the
tobacco, it ties it in.
The brand in general. If you notice, the bands. If you notice, there's usually two years in the band. On the right hand side, you'll see 1947. On the other side, you'll see 1961, and that's one of the most common questions that I get. What does that mean? So Aladino in Spanish means Aladdin, right? Like you're wishing that you go back to something. If you talk to the old man, if you talk to Don Julio, he will tell you that his long is to go back to the glory days. When he was living in Cuba, and Cuban economy was phenomenal, and Cuban cigars were the pinnacle of cigars around the world. And that period is usually the mid 40s to about early 60s. We have the Cuban Revolution in 1959. And within a couple years after that, everything just turns to shit. Mm-hmm. The entire country just gets destroyed, including the cigar industry. That's why modern day Cuban cigars are just trash. And I don't care who gets offended by it. They really are, and I can explain it in detail why they are such an inferior product to what.
We'll do that on another show. How does that sound?
So in many ways, this brand was created on a nostalgic purpose of going back to the glory days, going back to an era that a lot of people have a lot of fun memories of. Obviously, I was not born in that era, but growing up with my grandfather and him telling me all the stories about 1940s and 50s Havana, it was a special place.
Yeah.
And if you look at economic data from that time, it was just out of this world. Like when I found out that Cuba in 1959 was the 28th largest economy in the world, when you put that into perspective, it's still a tiny island.
Mhm.
The fact that it was, top 30 economy in the world, GDP per capita was the third highest in the Western Hemisphere. It's things like that for a lot of people, it really is sad. It is sad, and every time I don't get to go to Cuba as often, but every time I go, it depresses me because I know what it used to be, and then we shift to a communist revolution, and now we are. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just really sad. So one of the things that drew my attention towards Aladino early on, it wasn't just the cigars; it was a story. The story of this man that lost everything in Cuba, had to leave Cuba, went to Honduras at a time where nobody had ever heard of Honduran cigar. And in the early 60s, he creates the first operation out of Honduras, along with the Oliva family. And then fast forward, now we have all these factories in Central America. It's all based on the foundation that this man created. FYI, within a few weeks, or hopefully about less than a month, the third hand-rolled documentary is going to come out. So I don't know if you guys saw the first hand-rolled documentary came out a few years ago. It was created by, it was produced by Pete Johnson, the Tatuaje team, but it was kind of like it had everything to do with the cigar industry, right? They interview cigar makers and it kind of like a documentary about the industry in general. The second hand-rolled documentary comes out the year after, and it's about the Newman family, J.C. Newman. And that was another phenomenon. It's called Hand Roll 2. Both of them are available on YouTube.
Very familiar
the
with that.
Third hand-rolled documentary. So the third one is all about the Iroa family. It's about, So we got a preview at PCA. People were laughing and crying because it's a very emotional documentary. It talks about a little bit of everything, from his involvement with the CIA, his involvement with the Bay of Pigs invasion, then him making cigars, creating all of this, everything that they had to do, and it kind of culminates at the end with, now we have Aladino Cigars, right? Talks about his family and stuff like that. So hopefully within the next few weeks, that's going to be available for cigar consumers to watch, to stream. I don't know yet what platform they're going to use, but it came out. I mean, the little that we saw at PCA, people were just like mind blown. So and I feel like he's one of those stories that is not often told in the cigar industry.
Yeah. It's crazy. You talk about boutiques, right? But all these companies were boutiques at one time, right?
Yeah.
And it's just amazing the history of cigars. Like, just knowing the history, even if you don't smoke cigars, and I've said this before, it's history, it's history that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, okay, blends have changed. Like, you're obviously taking us back with this cigar, back to the 50s. But as far as the hand rolling process, the factories and stuff like that, if you went back 100 years ago, it's the same shit.
Pretty much. A few innovations here and there, but for the most part,
it's the same. I mean, some of the tools might have changed a little bit, stuff like that. Maybe some better, glues and stuff like that in order to put the cigars together. But I mean, as far as that, the tables, the cutters, the rollers themselves, that is just hand down from family to family, from father to son to, even mother to son, mother to daughter, down there. I mean, there's people that just do the same job for 30, 40 years.
And it's passed down from family to family. And that's why, like, I remember, I think it was about a week and a half ago, usually every day on Instagram, got a couple of accounts, for the sake of the brands, promoting stuff like that. And for the most part, I just post like, what I'm smoking and things like that. And I made just a random post. I felt like it that day. And the post was support family-owned brands. They're the heart and soul of the cigar industry. I think that's what I put, something within that. I have to go back. A couple of people reach out and they're like, what do you mean? Well, I was like, when you're supporting a family like the Iroa family, the Padron family, the Plasencia family, you're supporting a legacy that stands generations of them passing down knowledge to their children, their grandchildren. Some of these families go back, to the 1800s making cigars. For me, family-owned brands is the pinnacle of the cigar industry. It's not corporate brands, and I have nothing against corporate brands, and they definitely play a role in the cigar industry. But I really do believe in the concept of supporting family-owned brands and supporting your local cigar shops. Right? Same thing. We have a lot of corporate conglomerates, and they're beautiful and they have bars and stuff like that. But that's not the essence of the cigar industry. It's your local cigar shop. It's your family-owned brand. So I really do believe in that, without saying anything negative about the corporation side, because they definitely play a role. For me, what the cigar families have done in the industry, even if you don't smoke cigars, like my wife is not necessarily a cigar smoker. Like, she'll light up every once in a while. She loves the stories. She loves the story of Padron. She loves the story of the Quesada family. She loves, finding out all this because it's fascinating. And you think about everything that they had to endure, everything that they had to go through, relocating countries and creating industries in places that there was none. I mean, 1940s, there wasn't a single cigar coming out of Central America. And now it's a booming industry that has created, towns that have
sort of a forced industry too. If you think about it, if you go back to the embargo and
stuff,
really
it was done
out of
necessity.
It was necessity.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
No,
because it made growth. It made people go to another area to experience different tobaccos, different soils,
100%.
different growing environments.
Yeah.
And that, I think, broadens the scope of what kind of tobacco we're getting out.
Absolutely.
And it expanded other countries. I mean, if you really think about it, it definitely expanded other countries.
100%.
And it brought millions of dollars to other countries that needed the money anyway.
Very good point. Yeah. People often overlook the positive impact that the cigar industry has had in towns like Tamboril in the Dominican Republic, Estelín in Nicaragua, Danlí in Honduras. I'm like, they are entire towns that are being created, maintained, schools, hospitals, because of the cigar industry.
Right. Yeah.
And that is often something that we do not talk about enough. I feel like we get a little bit too distracted with blends and things like that. That's all great, but there's a storytelling side of the cigar industry that has reshaped Latin America. Part of that was out of necessity. The Cuban diaspora that got expelled out of Cuba in the 1950s, that were cigar makers, they needed to, because now all of a sudden you don't have tobacco. Most of the tobacco was coming out of Cuba, but then they took seeds, they took their knowledge, they trained entire generations, and now we have this beautiful industry that expands not only Latin America, but places like Indonesia. Right now, you're starting to see a lot of cigars coming out of Africa and Asia, and it's a beautiful thing.
Now, going back to the 50s, and I don't know this, and this is why I'm asking. Besides Cuba and pretty much Ybor City, where was that? Anything else going on back then?
A very, very tiny operation coming out of Dominican Republic, but I'm talking about minuscule, compared to what.
So that was it. I mean, it was literally locked down to 3 places.
It was really,
places.
It was really the United States was producing tobacco. We did have tobacco in the United States, very little. Most of the tobacco was coming out of Cuba. That doesn't mean that most cigars were made in Cuba. A lot of cigars were made in New Jersey, in Ybor City, in New York. Patterson, New Jersey had a lot of cigar factories. New England had a lot of cigar factories.
I did not know that.
If the next time that you go to Princeton Cigar Library, remind me to show you. I have a lot of pre-revolution Cuban boxes. When you flip them, it says 5th District, New Jersey, 4th District, New York. Like it's actually, the Northeast used to make a lot of cigars using Cuban tobacco.
Of course.
But yeah, you had a very, very tiny industry out of the Dominican Republic, and a few other places were just contributing just a little bit. But it was really Cuba and the United States responsible for the cigar industry.
And being that you brought it up, that was our next question.
Yeah.
You have a new endeavor just opened. Why don't you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I do a few things within the cigar industry. I want to say that the majority of what I do is my brokering business, which I represent several brands: Aladino, Tatuaje, Gran Habano, Quesada, United. I mean, really good portfolio across the board, from Dominican Republic.
You got the Oktoberfest coming out.
I got the Oktoberfest coming out with Quesada. It's usually a very popular blend. A lot of shops in the Northeast will be getting the Oktoberfest, and it's really fun to just pair with with beer, and it's all fun. So that's one aspect of what I do in the cigar industry. I started noticing about a year and a half ago, when I was going to shops, that I will meet with shop owners that love the industry and had the money to open up a cigar shop, but had no idea what to do. And they will even admit it to me. They're like, I have no idea what to do. I don't know what brands are popular. I don't know how to market these brands. I don't know how to put together a humidor that makes sense, that there's positive market placement, and things can actually be affordable. So I started advising shops without taking any money, without anything, just clients of mine, because I wanted them to do better. Because if they did better, they have more money to buy product, right? Sure. If the shop is not selling the product, the shop has no money to buy product from you. So I started,
or can't even survive.
Or can't even survive and goes out of business. So then I'm like, well, if they take my advice, if they don't take it, that's a different story. If they take my advice, I don't mind reshaping their humidor. I don't mind helping them out with social media, with promotions and things like that. That
in the long run, it benefits you, benefits
all of us. It benefits my colleagues. It benefits Steve and Mo and Jason and the rest of the reps. It benefits everyone. So accidentally, I kind of got myself into that, almost like consulting / advising, and that led to me then getting involved in multiple startups. So let's say friends of mine, and some of them don't want me to disclose. That's why I'm not going to disclose.
No.
Friends of mine will say, like, I want to open up a shop. I have no idea. I don't even know how to get a tobacco license. I'm like, all right. So then I started working with them and doing startups and stuff like that. Princeton Cigar Library is in my hometown. I live in the outskirts of the Princeton area, and I'm really good friends with the with some of the other owners. And it was also out of necessity. You know, we had a previous shop in there called Little Taste of Cuba. It was an iconic cigar shop in New Jersey. The owner eventually moved to Florida. The place closed down, right? There was another operation that was involved in called Athers, and they started off heavy on the cigar industry. You guys were there.
Yeah,
and stuff like
Many
that.
times.
But then, you know, nothing against them. It's just cigars were not their focus, and the cigar kind of like the cigar side of the operation kind of like just went south. So I like departed and stuff like that. But what I found is that area of Central Jersey, especially the Princeton and area in Mercer County, had really nowhere people go smoke. And people told me, I have to drive 40 minutes to East Brunswick. I have to drive 50 minutes to Woolbridge. I have to drive. And I'm like, okay, this place needs a cigar shop. And it doesn't just need a cigar shop. It needs a good cigar shop, because this is Princeton, New Jersey. This is, you know, a few blocks away from the university. So I got together with a few friends. I'm like, guys, let's put together a cigar shop. I'm not gonna be able to be here a lot of time because I'm a broker and I have a lot of work to do with the representation side. But I can definitely put my piece into making sure that this is a nice operation that has a good variety of cigars, that has a lot of seating space and stuff like that. So it took us a few months and we put it together. It's called Princeton Cigar Library. It's in the heart of Princeton on State Road. And it's beautiful.
It's an absolutely beautiful
Yeah,
shop. I was there a few weeks ago. Popped in earlier, and I guess one of your co-owners was there, saw me just looking through the window because you guys weren't open yet.
Yeah,
and I just was like,
sounds kind of creepy, Tony.
Like,
I was down there, and just looking in the window.
You know what? I figured I was like, it showed noon, and I was like, let me roll the dice and see if anybody's there. And he saw me looking around. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, well, let's just see if Andrew's there. No, come on in.
Yeah.
Very open and beautiful cigar lounge. Absolutely, I love all the different rooms. Seating. Probably one of the most seatings I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, we have 55 seats.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
And still space to put tables and chairs. And
yeah.
We got the link to the site on the in the comments on the screen. Dawn's working on pulling some pictures right now. We'll put them up there as you guys are talking.
Yeah. So that was the goal. The goal is let's just not. I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right. Let's not just put together a little hole in the wall with, like we were mentioning earlier, like we're like 10 brands and hopefully no. Let's do it right. The town had an iconic cigar operation that I was a regular at, Little Taste of Cuba. To this day, we still talk about it like in a very nostalgic way. So we wanted to put something together that the town will be proud of, that everyone else in the community, we want to go and have a cigar. So we found this location, and this location was just perfect. One, free parking in Princeton that is unheard of.
Oh yeah.
So accessible.
It was always an event going to the other place, trying to I need to download this special app. To park
exactly.
And parking in
4
Princeton's
blocks
as
away.
bad as Hoboken. Like, good luck.
And you wouldn't think, right? But it is.
It is.
Hard.
It's a small town. It's a very small town. It revolves around the university. So, we found this space and we're like, well, it's accessible. It's on State Road, Route 206. It's very easy to get to. It's free parking. And then it kind of has a little bit for everything. So the front has no TVs. You don't want to watch TV, you sit in the front. The back area has TVs. You want to, like today there's college football is starting today. So there's going to be a lot of people that want to see their alma mater play. Sure, we have TVs. Big walk-in humidor with, right now, every week we're adding new brands. By the time we're done, we'll be close to 100 different brands and thousands of different SKUs.
That humidor's got to be about the size of this room.
Yep. So then when you come
big
in, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. And there was a lot of attention to detail, and we are, right next to Princeton University. So we wanted to add the books and, kind of like history, anthropology aspect to it. So if you walk around the place, it almost looks like an extension of the university. There's a lot of bookshelves. There's a lot of Greek statues, Roman statues. It kind of has a very academic vibe to it. And we did it like that on purpose, and it really is turning to now a staple in the cigar industry in New Jersey, where every day people are coming in like, holy shit, where have you guys been? I'm like, we just opened. So that's why,
And again, it's another 24-hour lounge, right? You have member access.
There's some member access. Yeah. There's member access, but the overwhelming majority of people is grab and go, like most shops.
Oh yeah.
We do a lot of like samplers and just like overall like bundle, pretty much whatever somebody needs. You come in there and they're like, hey, my budget is this. Okay, we'll find you the best option in that.
Yeah.
I don't like telling no a lot in the retail side. So we carry little
Basically what you're
pipes
saying
and
is even though I'm in Princeton, I'm not pricing you out of the area. Please come in my shop.
No, as a matter of
there's a lot of shops that like, oh, because I'm in this area, I'm just going to put an extra $5.
As a matter of fact,
I'll get those people in, and that's it. No, I don't care.
One of the feedbacks, positive feedback that we got in is, like a lot of people coming to the shop thinking, I thought I was going to spend a lot on cigars. Your prices are. I'm like, no, the prices are regular prices. Sure, we're in Princeton, but doesn't mean we need to price gouge. We're going back to that, brands price gouging, and eventually backfires on them. And same thing, there are a lot of cigar shops that the owners just feel like, triple keystone and, just raising the price for no reason. And if you can get away with it, it's fine, right? And there are some touristic areas that I understand, and I'm not telling anybody how to run their business, but that also takes into consideration what is your rent, what is your overhead.
There we go. We got some nice pictures up
yeah. So if you have to do it that way, but no, we keep our pricing very very, very, very affordable, and we really, price it out to what it should be. And yeah, every day that I don't go in as often as I wish, because I'm on the road a lot. But when I go in, I'm like, it's just beautiful to see what we came up with, and you see a lot of reps, and I know later on today a lot of the reps are swinging by, have a cigar, hang out, and stuff like that. So yeah, I invite everyone. It's a very welcoming place. Opens at noon every day, and it closes at 10 p.m. And there's a little bit of everything. Whatever you smoke, you're gonna be able to find something. There's local brands, like we were talking about Alex Martinez like earlier today. Exile Cigars, La Dalia will be in there. Some other local brands like DBL and Reynado, there's there. But then there's also big brands, and then there's boutiques, and then I also try to find what are some of the underdogs brand out there that people should be smoking, but they're not smoking. And I try to create a little bit of everything. But no, that there's a cigar for everyone. And pipe tobacco, we actually have a nice collection of pipe tobacco and pipes. A lot of the university professors are pipe smokers; they're not cigar smokers. Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we had a decent inventory of premium pipes and premium pipe tobacco. We don't sell cigarettes. We don't sell vape. We don't know. It's a premium tobacconist shop. Our tobacconists, we try to train them the best that we can. But yeah, I invite whenever you guys are, in the area, swing by.
That's funny. That's funny you say that, because my uncle was a professor at UPenn, and the same thing with all the professors he worked. They would always come over and smoke pipes.
Yep.
It's just funny that those Ivy League, they all smoke pipes.
They all smoke.
Do you get a lot of people come in and actually smoke the pipe in the shop, or is it more grab and go?
It's more grab and go.
I could say I've been going to shops for probably 30 years. I don't remember if I've ever seen anybody sitting.
I've seen a few, but it's definitely more grab and go.
Ray, if you're out there, we love you. Ray, every now and then he pulls his pipe in.
I'm a pipe smoker as well. I usually once a month just to change for, I like 1Q a lot. I like a lot of Kia blends. So every once in a while, I'll pull up and smoke a pipe, but it's definitely a minority within what you see in shops. Yeah. You primarily see cigar smokers, but we wanted to truly, emphasize no, we also have some premium pipes. Also because of the location, we do have a lot of university professors that come in and they buy the cans of Peterson or Davidoff or things like that, and they walk around town, smoking their pipe, looking like Albert Einstein. And
because of your relation relative to the college, are you open to hosting events for fraternities or something like that? We're
doing it already. Yep.
Doing it already.
Perfect. Oh yeah, we're doing it already. We're collaborating with the eating clubs in Princeton. We're collaborating with a lot of different things within the university. Absolutely, we are very open to it. Actually, my it just got announced on the PCA website and Instagram 2 days ago. My alma mater in Miami, Florida International University, just became the first university in the country to launch a premium cigar program. So if you actually go on the PCA website or their Instagram, they have on the announcement. So they're launching a collaboration with the PCA. They're launching a program to bring in premium cigars in the hospitality industry. Hotels and things like that. So there is definitely a movement to be said about universities.
Which is funny because a lot of the hospitality got rid of the cigars.
Exactly, but
they totally
with advocacy and with more information and kind of destroying some of those ridiculous myths out there, it's making a comeback. We are in a mini boom. The cigar industry is actually very healthy right now and is doing very well. So we are, and we can just base it on numbers. We don't have to. It's not my opinion. It's not somebody else's opinion. We look at numbers, even with the tariff, even with the economy being kind of a little bit up, and the cigar industry is very healthy right now. This past trade show was one of the best trade shows that most companies had, especially family-owned companies. They had phenomenal. All my brands are up this year compared to last year's numbers. So that's Princeton Cigar Library. It's a cool little thing that I love that. I love that aspect of the industry. Like, let's set up a shop, and let's find a place that has that demand, right? Because obviously some places it's pointless to open up a cigar shop, and let's make it a little bit different. I want people when they're there to kind of look around and be like, yeah, I'm at the library. I'm not at a
and it's crazy. It's like up in this way, you're like the southernmost until you get to way south cigar lounge.
Yes,
because until you get down to like Smoking Dog or one of those guys down there, and it was almost.
Oh, there's nothing.
County.
There's nothing in Mercer County.
There's nothing.
There's nothing.
It's a desert. It's a desert.
And that's why we also wanted to do it, because we're like, because I talk to people all the time when I do events, and they're like, yeah, Adrian, I live in whatever town, and I gotta drive an hour to go to a cigar shop. I'm like, that sucks. That shouldn't be the case.
Like this area of Jersey too, but because you have everything across the river, there's literally nothing.
There's nothing yet.
Now, one of the other questions I want to ask you as a rep, and it escaped me before, was these. Now, there may be no cigar lounges or cigar shops, but these smoke shops are like a dime a dozen freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Are they operated by you guys with reps, or are they just pulling cigars from wherever?
Because it depends. So some of them do buy from the reps. We do open account. Many don't. And the reason why they don't is they move so little cigars, it makes no sense for them to go direct with the companies. So there are distributors out there that we're the ones that feed the distributors, right? So you have, Meyer and Dodge, SC Wholesale, you LJ Suka. You do have these distributors. Now, what they do is that myself and the rest of the reps, we sell to them at somewhat of a discount, and then they're the ones that kind of feed the liquor stores and the shop and like the smoke shops, ShopRite. There are some ShopRites that have the cigars.
Yeah.
Most of them do not do enough in cigar sales to justify having an account with Perdomo, Padron, Plasencia, Aladino, Gran Habano, and stuff like that. So some of them do. It kind of depends. There's a few liquor stores that have some really nice humidors in the state that I sell directly to. But most of the time, no. The reps are primarily concerned with the traditional cigar shops that tend to do a lot more in volume in cigars. You go to one of the smoke shops, they might sell 3 cigars on a good day. Most of their sales are vape and cigarettes and all the kind of chemical
sometimes
shit.
What's worried me is like I'd be in some place that's a cigar desert, called a cigar desert, and I find one of those spots like, oh, it says you got to slowly go in there, and I'm looking at the prices going, something like, even though they look okay, some of that, I won't buy them because I'm just like, that's way too cheap, and why is that here? You know what I mean? Like,
because it's been there for a very long time.
Yeah,
right.
And it's not properly humidified, and they can't get rid of. And I've gone to liquor stores and I've told them, I was like, you need to humidify those cigars. Oh, well, we never sell them. I'm like, well, why you have it?
Right.
So
I
back
think
to the
it's for
point.
impulse buyers. You're there in a liquor store to buy liquor. It's a bone. They're probably taking a loss on it.
Look, and I'm not just saying this because I work in the cigar industry, but if I want to, like, I collect cowboy hats. A lot of times, like when you see me at doing events,
I was very surprised that you didn't walk.
It's the summer. The summer I usually lay back a little bit from it, but I love my grandfather wore hats every day until he passed away. So I got into hats early on, and I collect cowboy hats. I'm not buying one at Walmart. Nothing against Walmart, but I want to go to a place that specializes in cowboy hats. And I go to a lot of places, when I'm in Florida, Pennsylvania, South Jersey. Same thing with cowboy boots and stuff like that.
Do you have a Sacharelli from Newark?
No.
I want to get one of those.
No.
That's one of the oldest cowboy hat manufacturers.
Yes, I should. As a matter of fact,
New Jersey.
I'm due now in the fall to kind of like up my game and pick up a few, because every season I don't spend money on anything other than cigars.
And I keep seeing that guy on the internet with the golden nail. I forget. I want to buy one, but his hats are like $1,500.
Yeah, no. I buy $100 hats. I'm not.
Yeah.
Also because I destroy them. And that smoke cigars.
You can pick up a nice Stetson like Bozeman for $100,
easily. Sometimes even cheaper than
that.
And
they're great hats.
Yeah, I use my hats for work. Like I actually work with my hats. I'm traveling.
Excuse me, Mo. We're talking about hats now. Just so you know.
Okay. Thank you.
We spiral into a bunch of things, and Mo doesn't like it sometimes.
Yeah, you're good, man. No, you're good. You're good, man.
Easy Blues laughing in the background.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, if you want a premium cigar, go to a cigar shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that okay, you're at the local
Sometimes
gas station.
Like I said, you're in that desert, and
if you're in that desert, it's fine. But if you're in central North Jersey, down the shore, there's a lot of really good cigar shops.
Is there any place in the Jersey metro area that's too much when it comes to shops?
Yes and no. I mean, the Newark Elizabeth kind of area has a lot of cigar shops, but they also have a lot of population, and there's a lot of people coming
But there's
in.
some just boutique like shops there too.
Yeah. So, but they all seem to do well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of market based. I do think that a small town doesn't need 2, 3, 5 cigar shops.
Yeah.
You know, that might be a little bit because then they all cannibalizing on each other. But no, right now Jersey has a good balance. Almost everywhere that has a cigar operation, they kind of need one. And then there's a few places like, again, what was going on in Mercer County where there was no place to go have a cigar. Now we're it.
You mentioned South End before with the women-owned shop, and I've been in there numerous times, and I think that has a lot of opportunity.
Oh, 100%.
Especially with the stuff that's going to be coming to Freeland Heisen down there.
Yes,
that's one shop that could really blow up.
When they first contacted me, I had no idea who they were, and they called me and they're like, "Hey, you come highly recommended from all the cigar shops owners in the area. Can you come?" And I came in one day, and she's like, "Well, what are you going to sell us?" I'm like, "It's not even about selling you guys anything. Let me just give you some advice." And they took it and they run with it, and they've been very successful. And then over the months and years, little by little, been introducing new brands there that do very well. El Pulpo sells like crazy there. Viva la Vida, the Gran Habano Corojo No. 5. That's one of the best selling cigars. So that it's been organic, and that's kind of what I do as a rep. Is instead of coming in and trying to push you and let me see how I can, fuck over this shop. Like, no, it's not even about that. It's more about you build a relationship, you help them out. They're successful organically. If you have brands that work out there, they're just going to sell automatically. So I've kind of approached repping from that point of view. And I know some of the reps don't apply that. They're more like, no, you go into a shop, you try to force them to buy as much as. I'm like, that's not in the long game. It's not necessarily. And that's why a lot of reps are actually resented in shops. I've sat at a loud cigar shop with an owner, and all of a sudden a rep comes in from a company, and the owner of the shop will be like, this guy here again. He's just going to try to, take my money and sell me something that I don't need and I don't want. And that's not the approach that I take. And if you notice the good reps, like the ones who are killing it right now, they don't do that because it just backfires. It's the same thing if you walk into a cigar shop and you want to buy two $20 cigars, and the owner is just being pushy and trying to get you to buy a box, and you might not come back to the shop. Yeah. You like it was just not a pleasant environment, and we've seen a few shops in this area,
like car dealers.
Buying a car.
Yeah. So it works for a few clients a few times, and then after that you develop a reputation that's just not a comfortable place, and the owner's always trying to push you, to get stuff,
or they drop your lines altogether. Yeah, I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, so it's you want to go into a cigar shop and you want to feel welcome. You want to, sure. Like if I want a recommendation, recommend me something. But same thing with the pricing. If you're walking as a consumer, you walk into a cigar shop and you notice prices are so much higher, and whoever the tobacconist is just being pushy, and stuff, you might not come back to the shop, and you might tell a few people, and then before you know it, a few years along the line, then people are like, oh yeah, the shop's not doing well. They kind of did it to themselves. There's a lot of, you need to have a certain level of accountability.
Yeah. What do you got coming up? You got any events coming up or anything like that?
Yes.
Brands,
so,
Princeton Library, anything.
Let me see. So in September is a loaded month. Like it's a lot going on in September. I'm heading down to Virginia with Casey Johnson, the brother of Pete Johnson from Tatuaje. Yep. And we're going to be doing the Coastal Virginia Cigar Festival.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be a very cool thing. The week after that.
Don't know that, Mike?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I may be outside.
There you go.
You never know.
Mike, our resident triathlete over there, by the way. You're like, I'm just watching you switch between all the drinks that you have going on there. You're just amazing. Just watching you go from the espresso to the beer to the bourbon.
I love it. I'm an overachiever is what I am. Yep. This is delicious. It's the breakfast of champions. It really is.
So yeah, the second week of September is the New England Cigar Expo, which I was telling you guys about. That's probably one of my favorite events that they do all year. Do a lot of really cool stuff, and I'll be there with Justo Eiroa, the maker of Aladino. We're gonna be there, and then the rest of the month is just a lot of local events in PA, in Maryland, but there's a lot. Like my wife is the one that she's a stay-home mom, but she helps me a lot with my business. And she looked at my September and October calendar. She's like, "You're gonna go insane," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you need more money because you and the girls are expensive." So so that's and yeah, my September and October schedule is loaded. Yeah,
I saw an email. Is there a PCA event in Jersey in October or September or October?
Not that I know of.
No, I'll check the email. Talk to you later. After.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and yeah, Princess Cigar Library has a couple cool things coming up in September. I think September 17th. There's like a bourbon society that they're all coming in to like try different stuff and smoke. In October,
we'll be doing our Christmas party there
yes,
this year.
December 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
yeah,
December
you guys are going to be doing your Christmas party over there.
Yeah, we're doing a brunch Christmas party there. Some football. Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Nice.
Absolutely.
October, obviously, we'll do an Oktoberfest event. That's kind of become like a staple in the industry. We haven't decided a day yet, but absolutely we're gonna do it in October. I mean, almost everyone, Main Street Cigar, Leaf Cigar Emporium, Cigar Social, all of them are doing Oktoberfest events. It's kind of like that fun month. November, we have a big tatuaje event. I'll send you the dates as well.
Absolutely.
With the family.
Share it on the show.
Yeah. November 6th, if I'm not mistaken, big tatuaje event at PCL. And then December, we got your party. And then we'll probably do like a Christmas party for, the community. We're very involved right now with a lot of different things. Right now we're running a program in PCL with donate cigars to Cigars for Warriors. So we, a collaboration between one of my brands, United Cigars, Cigars for Warriors. We're trying to gather as many cigars as possible so then we can, donate it to our troops. So I'll keep you guys updated with a lot of like just cool events and things like that happening, not just in PCL, but obviously the entire territory. Yeah.
Awesome. Mike, what you got? You got anything coming up?
Got my show coming up next.
Yeah.
Campy's Crew Choir Practice. You're going to hang for that, which will be delicious and super fun and tasty. Yeah, and I'm gonna
be licking my arm on the show. Tune into Campy's Crew.
Yeah, maybe even his forehead. It's entirely possible. Yeah, good stuff. All good things.
Awesome. So, Dom, we got some stuff coming up. Patriots Leaf, you want to bring some?
We do. We have our Bricktoberfest event coming up October 1st.
Yep,
that's Verve. This is our third year.
Third year. Yeah, if you guys not familiar, look October 1st. We're going to be doing the Verve. I think we're only selling like 80 tickets.
Yeah, limited event, and it always sells out. It sells out quick.
Sells out. Going to get 5 cigars, including the one Bricktoberfest cigar. You're going to get a beer stein, German food, German beer, games. Our very own Mike Campy going to be emceeing the.
It's going to be delicious.
Bricktoberfest.
Again, delicious.
My apologies in advance.
So that should be fun right there. And maybe Bobby's going to fly in, or
we're hoping Bobby is doing better.
He's going to be doing better, hopefully.
So we're hoping Bobby comes and makes the trip up.
Yep. So it's a great event. We do it every year. Can't say enough about Rick over at the Verve. He definitely takes care of us well over there. And if you haven't been to that place, it's a beautiful, beautiful place downtown Somerville.
The food is incredible.
Oh, food's incredible. It's normally a French restaurant, a high-end French restaurant. He has a beautiful cigar patio.
Can you get melanzana there?
No.
Melanzana.
Yeah, melanzana.
Yeah.
No, we won't go.
We're not
going there.
Not going down that road again.
Not going down that
Nope.
road again. Nope, never again. At least on any of the shows coming up today.
Correct. I hear you.
Save that for Campy's show.
Yeah, you might not want to hang around.
No, you don't want to save that for Campy's show either. We love you, Mike, wherever you're at.
More to come.
But again, Patriots and Leaf doing that event there. Be looking for that coming up October. And that's about it. PatriotsandLeaf.org. If you're interested in a cigar smoker, you're a first responder, please come out, check it out. Come hang out with us in great cigar shops like the Princeton Library.
Bring a friend. Always bring a friend.
Always bring a friend.
Love guests.
Again, make sure you like us. Follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube. We really, really would appreciate it. And Adrian, thank you so much.
No, thank you guys.
Wonderful guest. We'll hope to have you on soon. We want to bring you back on for that conversation about cigars. And thank you very much.
Before you bounce out, if I can just plug Eddie Gray's photo shoot. This might actually be something you guys might want to set up at. I know the state FOP. They're there every year. They set up in the parking lot where the vehicle where the vehicle stage. I mean, they're there every year. Not on 9/11. My buddy, he's now retired from Port Authority. 31 years of service. Him and his crew have been taking professional grade photos of fire, EMS, and police apparatus down at Liberty State Park on 9/11 night with the skyline in the background. They've been doing it for free this entire time. They're in their 19th year. Again, completely free. All the contact info, if you want to attend, is on the flyer there that's up on the screen. Or just got to email them and they put you in the queue. And again, like I said, it's where the vehicle stage. They know the state FOP has been setting up their canteen trailer, so maybe you guys want to go down there and mingle with all. We've had apparatus come from as far as Louisiana. They drive up there, and they'll sit. And again, it's first come, first serve, but they'll go till everybody gets their picture taken, or they turn the lights out, which I think happens around 2:00, somewhere around that range. But no, they haven't had that issue where they've run out of time. So again, on 9/11, all the contact info that is there. It is free. The photos are free, and they supply them to your department for free as well.
That's awesome. And thanks everybody here, Blue, Mo, everybody in the stage back there. Thank you to BBO for hosting this great podcast here up in their building here. Another great organization, BBO.org, correct?
Yes, sir.
BBO.org.
Brothersbrothers.org.
Brothersbrothers.org. Support our flower fund if you're out there. All the BBOers support the flower fund. We always need money to send flowers to our fallen. So thank you very much, everybody. Tune back in for Campy's crew in a little bit.